Hey, it's Jonas, and we've got some more fantastic questions from our viewers. So please sit back and relax as Dave takes it on. Dave, do you think that EV charging prices will go up or down?
Okay, crystal ball time. The answer is both. It's a strange one. Right, Tesla are by far the cheapest chargers in the whole of the UK. They have a policy right up in Tesla head office that they want to make charging really quick, really easy and really cheap for their drivers. It's an advertising promotion for them. Tesla, 25-minute average charge time compared to the average UK charge time for non-Tesla is 40 minutes. So they're almost twice as fast. So Tesla's always had a policy, really fast chargers, really cheap prices. That's great. Now, others don't. Others see this as an investment. And recently there's been a huge amount of investment going into the EV charging infrastructure. There's been grants and things available from the government, but beyond that, there's a lot of private money come into it. There are a lot of green funds setting up, and they only invest in green projects. And EV charging, EVs are green projects, so they qualify for this. So a huge amount of money has gone into investing in EV charging infrastructure. We saw this first with GridServe last year. They got a £500 million financing package for them to go out and spend on EV chargers. Recently, BP's announced they're putting £1 billion into investing into EV charging infrastructure, and so many other hedge funds, investment banks, investment houses, call them what you want. These are ones where people will invest in a particular portfolio which the investment bank puts together, and they're now starting to put together green portfolios. So if somebody has money and they don't want to invest in an oil company, they can invest their money with one of these green funds within an investment bank. Now, those investment banks, they want their one job they need to give a good return to their investors. Otherwise, investors won't invest the money. And so what they look for is a decent return. And unfortunately, that's the total opposite to what Tesla's trying to do. Tesla is trying to drive down prices to make people use them. The investors are trying to bump the prices up so they make a healthy profit on each charger, because they know that the chargers don't work all day. They only work for a set number of hours a day, and they'll produce so much electricity and so much income per day. So the higher the price, the better for them. So we have these two conflicts going on, with Tesla keeping prices down and the investors insisting that whoever they invest in, whichever charging network, keeps the prices up. And in the middle, we've now got the supermarkets come into it. And these supermarkets, they don't care about anyone else. They don't care about investment banks or Tesla or anything like that. What they care about is getting people into the door in their supermarkets. And if someone like Sainsbury's, who's just announced a big investment in EV chargers, ultra-rapid chargers, 150 kilowatt, they will be using them to get customers away from Tesco and into Sainsbury's. Because the principle is, if you can't charge at home, you just go to your normal supermarket at night, you plug in to an ultra-fast charger while you're charging, and when you come out, your battery is full. If the only supermarket offering this is Sainsbury's, you may well switch away from Tesco or Morrison's or Asda and go to Sainsbury's. You might pay a little bit more for the supermarket shopping, a little bit less, we don't know. But the ultra-fast, ultra-rapid chargers are there to draw people in. If Sainsbury's don't see any drive away from using Tesco or Asda or Morrison's into them, one of the things they have at their control, they can drop the price of their charging. They are not going to make a fortune out of charging, not out of 10 chargers in a car park. However, if they can drop prices, even if they make a loss, and they can get 10 new customers into their supermarket, what they know from experience is that once a new customer moves there and starts shopping there, they're likely to stay there for quite some time. So if they can drop prices dramatically and they get a flood of new customers coming from Asda's and Morrison's, they'll do it. It's a very competitive food market. So I would expect, at the moment it's only Sainsbury's doing it, Tesco still have the 7 kilowatt chargers, no use to man nor beast anymore. And Morrison's just starting 1 or 2 stores, they put a 300 kilowatt charger in, but most of them have 50s. So what we're going to start seeing is that as the Sainsbury car parks start filling up with EV ultra-rapid chargers, and as people start moving away from Tesco, Morrison's and Asda, Tesco, Morrison's, Asda into Sainsbury's, do the shopping and charge at the same time because it's just so convenient. Then, first of all, the other supermarkets will start installing ultra-rapid chargers, and secondly, it's going to be a price war. So we're in a very interesting time at the moment. I don't know who's going to win out. There's also one final one, and that is in the UK, electricity for domestic supplies charged out VAT at 5%. The rate for everything else is 20%. But the government, for some strange reason, when they introduced EV charging tariffs, they decided to charge the VAT at 20%, not at 5%. And there's a big movement at the moment that they shouldn't be doing that. They should, if they've got a VAT rate of 5% for electric, it should all be 5%. So we've got a third hand here, which is the government. There's a possibility that sometime in the near future that the government will announce that the VAT for electricity provided to EV chargers is going to be charged at 5%. If that happens, there'll be a massive drop in the price per kilowatt hour that these chargers use. Now, some of the investors won't pass that on to you. They'll try and keep the prices high for as long as they can. Some of the supermarkets will immediately pass it on to their customers, or maybe not immediately, but fairly quickly. And Tesla almost certainly will just pass it straight on the same night. So there's this conflicting forces here. We've got the investors, we've got the supermarkets, we've got Tesla, we've got the government. It's getting quite interesting. My prediction is we're going to see high prices up in the 75, 80 pence average for most of 2024. I see the supermarkets coming in big time towards the end of 2024. I can see VAT being reduced, probably announced when we have the run up to the election. That will be a big vote gainer for a lot of for some of the parties. And so I think towards the end of 2024, we're going to see the prices coming down quite dramatically. And once there's a price war going on, particularly between the supermarkets and Tesla, you'll find that the investors are no longer getting back the return that they expected by keeping the prices high. And they have a choice then. They can leave them out there and have nobody use them, in which case they'll lose money. Or they can bring their prices down and start buying electricity at better rates and pass as much on as possible so they compete with the supermarkets. There's quite a battle going on. I think in the next 2 years, this is all going to come to a head. And I think we're going to see really cheap electricity prices at the chargers from end of 2024, early 2025. There's one other thing that's on the horizon. This is a much more distant horizon. And that is at the moment, electricity prices are tied to the price of oil and gas. It's just what the governments around the world have done. So if Iran starts producing less oil, and the price of oil goes up, our electricity goes up. It's crazy system. Don't know why we do it. Assume it's down to money. But at some point when we go much more renewable, and this is happening at a massive rate, most days in this year, we're producing more electricity from renewables than we are from oil, gas, or any other source. This is a fact. Go and look on the National Grid website. There's going to come a point where we're producing most of our electricity from renewable sources, and someone is going to turn around and say, why are these prices tied to an oil which is going out of fashion? And at that point, the tie will be broken and people will be able to sell electricity for whatever price they want. So if during the daytime all the wind turbines are blowing and the solar panels are pumping out electricity, they're free to just drop the price to negative, so they pay you for taking it, and people will soak it up into grid-connected batteries and they'll sell it on at a cheaper price. So it's an exciting area. Love to see where this one's going.
Dave, why is on-street charging such a postcode lottery?
Right, this is why street charging is so poor. There are two answers to this one. One of them you won't like, the other one I'm going to tackle first. Councils are strapped for cash. They've just got no money. So if you expect your local council to go and put chargers in the street so that the rich people who can afford EVs can go and charge their cars, it's not going to happen. And that's why in 2022 the government announced the levy, which is the local electricity vehicle infrastructure, something on those lines. And it was launched late in 2022, and nobody did anything about it. Councils ignored it. They got other problems to worry about. And so in September last year, 2023, the government relaunched it, and they made £6 billion available, and they're pushing this like mad. And already there are councils getting hundreds, millions of pounds in grants, totally free. They can't use it for anything else, but it's not coming out in their budget. So now they're starting to do it. And these are specifically for street side chargers. So these will be the low power ones, 7 kilowatts, maybe down to 3.5 kilowatts. And they're going to try and get them everywhere. Now, since September 2023, when they did the relaunch, a load of councils have applied for the money. It's thousands of them. They are really going for this now. And what happens is you're not going to see any new charges immediately, because with a council, what you have to do when you apply for the money, you have to wait till you get your answer back saying, yes, you've got your money. You then have to go out to tender to the charging networks, people like PodPoint or EV Point or ChargePoint, whatever it is. And you then have to get a quote in. They have to do a survey. This all takes time. And then once they've got all the tenders in, they'll pick the best tender, not always the cheapest, but the best one. And then at that point, they'll order it. But the idea of that particular network being able to just go, oh, straight away, let's go and start, they're busy. So there's going to be a little bit of delay. So I'm predicting that from about April, May, June, sometime this year, you're going to start seeing these chargers going in big time. And £6 billion buys an awful lot of EV chargers. So this is going to happen. And the government's got a target of getting 10 times as many EV chargers out there into the public domain by 2030. That's now only 6 years away. So this is the start of it. You're going to see a big ramp up. Now, I said there are two answers to this, and the second one you probably won't like. It baffles me how people charge their cars. Now, let me just go back, and I've done this before. I'll do it again before people finally understand. When you had a petrol car, you would drive. You might top your tank up, and you'd drive to work and back, and it might be 10 mile, 15 mile, 20 mile. When you came back home, you didn't stop at the garage and top up what you'd used that day. You went home and you went out the next day and the next day. And then when your gauge went down or when the light came on, you went back to the petrol station and you didn't fill your tank. If you stop any car in the road, 99% of them will have between a third and a half of a tank full. That's all. We do not, and we did not, fill our tanks right up to the very brim every time we put petrol in. The way we used to work when we had petrol and diesel cars was we would put in enough for the week, 20, 30, 40 pounds worth, whatever the figure was, not filling it. And then we'd use that. Then when it runs down, we'd go back again a week later and we'd just top it up again. If ever we were going on a long run, the night before, a lot of people would top it right the way up to the top so you can do your long run. And we've lived like that for the best part of 100 years. And now people get EVs and they believe, honestly, truly believe that they have to plug it in every single day. Now, an average driver only does 8,000 miles a year. He does 20 mile a day. 20 mile a day. The average EV has a battery range now of approaching 200 miles, even in the cheaper cars. So, if you top up on a Monday, top an EV up to 100% on a Monday, you do not need to plug it into another charger until the following Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it might be. You just use what's in there, and then when you go to charge again, you don't have to fill it up. Just put in what you need and get you through to the next week, and the next week, and the next week. And you do this if you don't plan a long road trip. You just use it for commuting. Just top it up once a week. Now, I think people got confused about this because They're advised, if you've got an LFP battery, and most of the basic models now have LFP batteries, that you should always charge it to 100%. And this is absolutely true. However, they have totally misunderstood what this means. Yes, when you charge it, you must charge it, or you should charge it to 100%, because that's what the batteries are designed for. That's how they work best. But nowhere does it say if you go out and drive 20 miles and come back, you have to top it back up to 100% there and then. What it says is, if you want to go a week, that's fine. Go a week without charging. But when you do charge, you should take it back up to 100%. So if you can't charge at home, then all you need to do once a week, go out and charge it from whatever it is up to 100%. That's really simple. Why do people find this so difficult? Now, if you can charge at home and you've got an LFP battery, by all means plug it in every night. It really doesn't matter, because what will happen when you plug it in, you've only used 20 mile, it's going to take you, half an hour, hour and a half, just to top that up, and then it'll switch off. So you're not charging every night, just a little bit. There's no need to. Now, I did an interview with Tom, who's a new EV owner, and he's got a charger at home. He doesn't use public charging. He did one long journey where he had to, and that went quite well, but he doesn't do long journeys during the week. He told me during that interview, it's up on the channel, that he plugs it in at home once or twice a week. That's it. Overnight, he sets the charge at 80%. That's all he ever does, once or twice a week. So when I hear stories about people driving around London every night looking for vacant chargers that can leave their car on overnight, why are you doing that? Do it once a week. There's a quick mention, and this is a silly one, but if we did that with petrol cars, we would have major problems. See, there are 35 million petrol cars in the country. If every one of them, every time you used it, went to the garage to try and top up just, half a gallon? There'd be massive queues at the petrol stations, massive. We don't do that. We fill our car up once a week and fill it right to the top, only for long journeys. Why, if you can't charge at home, don't you do the same with an EV? It's an education. Said you wouldn't like it, it's down to the driver. Learn how your car works. If it says you've got to top up to 100%, top up to 100%, but you don't have to do it every day. What it says is, when you charge, it should be 100%. So user error.
Dave, why don't hotels install 7 kilowatt chargers instead of 100 kilowatt?
This is down to just pure ignorance. People who don't understand EVs, don't have an EV, never driven one, never looked into them. They just think, we've got to put a charger in the car park. What's the best one? Let's put a big one in. Let's put 100 kilowatt in. Now, most people visiting a hotel do not go there for half an hour. Some of them do. If the hotel offers a nice restaurant, for example, people go there for lunch or dinner in the evening, and that's absolutely fine. However, most people visiting a hotel will be there for some time, probably overnight. What a hotel is by definition. Overnight, 100 kilowatt charger is the worst charger you could possibly use, because most cars will charge within an hour. So you go up to your room, plugged your car in, within an hour you've got to go down and unplug it, because you can't block the charger all night. 7 kilowatt charger, absolutely ideal. That means you plug in the evening, and when you wake up in the morning, it might have taken 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, depends on your state of charge, but your battery will be full. So hotels should install loads of 7 kilowatts and no 100 kilowatts. Leave the 100 kilowatts for the motorway services or the EV hubs. Hotels should only fit 7 kilowatts. That's it. Now, if you are fitting 7 kilowatts, you can get, about 13 or 14 7 kilowatts for the same power as one 100 kilowatt charger. So they're quicker, they're easier, and they're starting to go in. Did a road trip recently out to Chester on the M56, Chester East services. There's a hotel there. It used to be a day's hotel. It's now a Super 8. And outside the hotel, they have 7 kilowatt chargers, which are dedicated to people who book them with a room. And what that means is, whether you're staying one night or 3 nights, doesn't really matter, that charger is yours for the stay. Nobody else can use it. It's logged to you. I don't know how they do it, but it's logged to you. When you book the room, you pay a surcharge. I believe it's £10, but you don't pay for the charging. You don't pay anything for the kilowatt usage. So if you're on a road trip, you're just staying one night, you'll get there in the afternoon or evening. You will plug your car in, you'll go to your room, you go to sleep, you wake up in the morning, you check out, and you're on your way. And it's cost you a tenner. That's quite a good deal, actually. If you're staying 2 or 3 days and you're using the hotel as a centre for going out exploring, then all that happens is every night you come back, you just charge up, plug in again, it will charge up overnight, and each day you start with a fresh battery. It's absolutely brilliant, but the hotels don't yet understand it. Super 8 has. They've seen this as a future. Most of the hotels which are on motorway services have not even got involved yet. They rely on the fact that some other chargers are already there and people will use them. I think in time we're going to start seeing hotels fitting them. And there's been a deal recently with Tesla and the Great Western hotel chain. They've got, I think it's 200,000 hotels throughout the world, and they're going to be installing 7 kilowatts. And these are the home charge. They've got exactly the same charger I've got outside. Now you can see these already in Newport in South Wales at the Celtic Manor Hotel. And this is a very big hotel. It's also the host of the Gulf Open every few years. And of course, this is ideal now for fitting 7 kilowatt chargers. When you go there, you can see photographs, there's row after row of 7 kilowatt chargers, and they're free for hotel guests. Now, if you're going and playing a golf, you can use them as well. You can plug in if you're on a 3-4 hour round of golf. Don't know how long it actually takes, but something like that. You can add quite happily 100 miles of range to your car. If you're staying in a hotel overnight, you can get a full charge by the morning. And they've started doing it. So hotels are slowly starting to do it. Great Western will be the next big one. This will be a nationwide or worldwide project. So we're heading that way. But in the meantime, the smaller ones, it's just ignorance. Well, thanks very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please click the like button. And if you'd like to see more, please subscribe and click the notification bell so we can notify you next time we launch a video. And a massive thank you to all our Patreon supporters. It is your support that enables us to go out and make these videos for you. So thank you very much for your contribution. I'm Dave.